Allow me to introduce you to ADAMA.
Atlanta is the Black Mecca. We know this already. We are home to people of African descent and the epicenter of arts and culture.
But where can you go to experience Black art and culture, illuminating the depth and breadth of the African diaspora?
Launched in March 2020 as a museum without walls, ADAMA quickly emerged as a space that is already engaged in communities around the world.
The best part about being a founding member of ADAMA
is knowing that I'm part of making history.
By contributing to ADAMA, you're joining a global community of dreamers and builders,
bringing forth a world-class museum
that highlights the Black global experience.
And it's all happening here.
Right here.
Right here.
Right here, right now.
Right here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Join us.
Give.
And get involved.
ADAMA.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the ADAMA Salon. So I'm very excited about this discussion. My name is Essé. I'm the first resident for the Bridge residency, and my topic of research is around hip hop. So to start the conversation, I have with me Ofoe Amegavie, who is a photographer based in Accra, and SelormJay, also originally from Accra. Hi, welcome, guys. I'm very excited to have this conversation on a bigger platform because we started having those conversations just between the three of us. But for me, it's very exciting to just have them with more people. So, Ofoe, do you mind introducing yourself?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. What did you say?
Can you introduce yourself?
Sorry. My name is Ofoe Amegavie. Documentary photographer based in Ghana. I work between Accra and Adana, and I'm very much interested in the Ghanaian culture as a whole system, and deep down I'm very much interested in the Ghanaian culture, youth culture, and how it's taken form in its current state, and what statement the youth of Ghana are making through art and through spaces being created for young people to express themselves. So these are the kind of spaces I like to point my camera in. Yeah.
Thanks. And you are joining us from Accra, right?
Pardon?
And you are joining us today from Accra.
Yes. We're in Accra right now.
Okay, cool. Hi, Selorm. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. So my name is Dabla-Attikpo, but artistically I go by the name SelormJay. I'm a photographer, filmmaker, and a cultural producer based in Accra. Particularly focusing on hip hop in Africa. My interest is always revolved around the hip hop culture on the continent.
Thanks. So my first question for you would be, what can you identify a key moment that defined your relationship to hip hop? Maybe Selorm, if you want to start.
I think the very first time I started getting interest in hip hop was when I first saw the group Crisscross on TV. And that was like I don't even know what year, but definitely in the 90s. Yeah, that's when I started developing interest for the culture.
Okay, what about you, Ofoe?
I think for me it was the first time I physically held a copy of DMX's Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. The album art, the pages, like flipping through the pages, and then at the time I was very young and hip hop was like something only bad boys listen to. But then, even at that young age, like looking at the album art and then listening to the music, I could feel a connection that was beyond explanation. Like, okay, this guy is actually trying to say something, and I can connect to it. And from then, I have been interested in basically everything in hip hop, anything
Okay,
concerning hip hop. Yeah.
nice. Nice. So it's interesting that your two experience they are really related to US hip hop, like American hip hop, and not Ghanaian hip hop.
Yes.
So
Okay. Sorry.
go ahead. Sorry.
So for me, at that time, Ghanaian hip hop hadn't really kicked off yet. So we're still on the receiving end. We're still um, trying to understand what was going on. You know, and I was pretty young back then too, so I can't really say for sure what it was, but definitely it was first a lot of American hip hop consumption before it finally took off for us. Yes.
So can you tell me when we started really talking about Ghanaian hip hop? What was the turning point? Which date approximately?
Date I don't know, but yeah, I think it was 96.
Okay.
96 when Reggie Rockstone it came. I forgot what was the album. Um, but what I remember was a Plan B. We used to see a Plan B on radio everywhere, and I think that's when I think most people even realize the power of rapping in our own language,
Mhm,
and then
mhm,
it really
mhm.
took off for us since then.
Okay.
But in the rap aspect of the hip hop culture.
Mhm. Okay. Do you also remember this time of way, like 1996 and Reggie Rockstone? How did that impact you?
I think my ear was very like getting new to that space of hip hop. So even when Reggie was releasing at that time, I don't think for me I could make an instant connection to Reggie's music at that
Mhm,
time. But I
mhm.
think what really connected for me was Obrafo's album.
Okay.
The first time I heard that album, I think I was older, and the first time I heard that album and I was hearing Chi from start to end, I was sold. That was when I think I was sold to Ghanaian hip life. The first time I heard of Brafo's album, because at that time I think some of us had, well, for me, I had really heard a bit of American hip hop. So to hear a Ghanaian rap on that level, I that was when I really caught on the Ghanaian hip life scene.
And that was 20 years ago, right? 1999.
Yeah.
Um, maybe
No,
90,
no.
for his first project, maybe yeah, between
Primuka.
98 and 99. Yeah, between 98 and
Okay.
99.
Yeah.
For me, being not being Ghanaian, that's something I feel like should be largely celebrated. And I know that I was in Accra in 2018, 2019, and I didn't really see anything happening. So that's when I feel our conversation is really important because there's a necessity for those dates to become like historical dates and for it to really matter and for us to be able to tell this story. How do you see? How can we work around it to preserve the history and to have those key dates become national dates? Like I think it's really important. How can we work around it? What can we do for those dates to matter and to be remembered?
Um, I I think that's what Yoyo things have been trying to do. We just have to tell our own stories. We just have to create our own platforms.
So what is
Um,
Yo-Yo Teens?
so Yoyo things is a Ghanaian hip hop platform that is aimed at documenting, archiving, and promoting a Ghanaian culture, but beyond Ghana as well. And
What you funded?
yes, which that's my baby right there. Um, so for me, I think that our for the States, the main media, the powerful medias, they've all understood what the culture is about. So there's some sort of reportage there. There's some sort of documentation from that side. There's some sort of interest, but I don't think our media have that strong understanding for the culture. So there's not much that has been done. They are aware of their existence, but I don't even think they look at it with a hip hop lens. They look at it as I don't know, like an entertainment lens, a music lens. So it's almost like they're interested in what is hot. So if they feel like some rappers are hot or whatever, and then, that's what is focused on. But now at the moment, Afrobeats is what is hot. So main media focuses on what Afrobeat. So I think it's for us hip hop heads, lovers of hip hop, to create our own platform and then have, tell our own story, and we shouldn't allow this important dates to die. We shouldn't allow this important moments in history to just vanish. And of course that's what we did during our festival. We honored Obrafour for his 20 years.
Maybe later on I'll try and show a picture of
Sure.
the artwork that was commissioned on that occasion. Ofoe, I think that's the work you are doing, Ofoe and Selorm, to kind of document and make sure that there's a trace, like we leave something, we leave a mark. What do you think is the best medium to share your archive that you've constituted over a dozen of years now?
Yeah.
Okay, I think. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry, my line is. I think for me, my biggest inspiration has been access to content around hip hop, like the origins of hip hop in general, where you can.
Oh no, we've lost you.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah. So basically, my question was more about the medium. What is the best way to share with the general public this archive that you and Ofoe are working on?
Okay.
Hello.
Ofoe is back.
Sorry about the internet.
No problem. we know about Accra's internet, so you are forgiven.
Yeah. I was saying, I guess your question is about what way we can sort of preserve these dates.
Yeah.
I am heavily inspired by the easy access to American hip hop history. I could go on even Netflix right now, and there'll be like so many documentaries on hip hop and books. And I feel like in this space, because the media is also heavy concentrated in like video, photography. Like there should be a lot of books being published now, even if we don't have like a space like a museum where we can keep some of these, I don't know, original copies of album CDs and cassettes. Maybe we can have books that are available. We don't forget the dates. We can always go back to these publications as reference for even research. We can easily reference people that produce, because people are you go online right now, people are actually documenting their own recording sessions without somebody else coming from the outside to say. So putting these out in different different publications, I think will add to the longevity of preserving some of this information. Because on the internet, information is here today, is gone tomorrow, but books are physical. So I think that's where my focus is more on these days. How to put out what I already have in my collection, how I can publish them in books.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's make it happen.
These conversations, I think Selorm and I had some time ago about why we can't walk into a space and say this is Ghana Hip Life Museum. Every information you need about Ghana Hip Life is here. That's where the collaboration between us is like kicking off. Like the conversation is really much in that direction.
So I like that. So there's a variety of ways to work around it, but I really like the idea of a book. What are your thoughts on that, Selorm?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Because we understood a lot of American hip hop, or if I don't know if we well understood it, or but however we're interpreting it came from like magazines like Source magazine, and I remember back in school, our what we call trunk, where we put our clothes and books. We had cutout images from Source magazine, of our favorite rappers, our favorite sneakers, whether we had access to it or not, we just like the images. So I think documenting the Ghana hip hop scene and putting them in books will be great. I mean, you never know what it might do to a kid, going through the pictures, reading about it. But also, I know Ghana is a very visually oriented space. So documentaries also could work for people who like to watch documentaries. But for me, something I'm passionate about is, finding a way to have our own hip hop center where we can, have a lot of these things available for people to see. Like, I know people who have old cassettes, that we can collect. I know I experienced the era where we would record songs on from the album box, so I'm sure people have collection of these cassettes and stuff hiding somewhere, the fashion from back then hiding somewhere. so sorry, there's somebody on the streets this time. Sorry, I'm on the phone. Sorry. Sorry, I'll talk to you later on the phone. I speak English. Yeah. Sorry, I'm having an interview right now. Sorry, please.
Go up. That's your wife. That's your wife?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Can we try and continue?
Sorry, I'm in my car and somebody's just disturbing me.
Okay.
So
you were talking about the fact that there are so many people who actually have elements that we could gather and start having a collection, kind of all those elements, like recorded cassettes, etc.
Yes. So we can collect all those things, put it into one space, have our own hip hop center, small museum, have a lot of hip hop activities happening here. There, continue the story, however we can,
I hear you on that, but is it really realistic? Like, how is the cultural scene, arts and culture scene in Ghana? Like, who finance arts and culture? So if such center was to exist, how will it be financed?
Unfortunately for us, a lot of such projects are financed by people outside the space. People who organizations that understand the importance of these things. Our cultural organization, or I don't know, institutions here, I don't know if I don't know if they are just not ready for it, or they don't understand. I don't know, but obviously, we don't have that kind of support. Um, I don't even know who I can go and have that conversation with. So usually we try to reach out to institutions outside that understand these things. To because a center is like a lot of thousands of dollars to have a space like that. So it's not even yeah. But also, I mean, these days there's crowdfunding. So I mean, hope is not lost. There's always a way to make it happen. I mean, I think it's possible. Yeah.
Ofoe, do you have hope that the government can have some interest in such a project?
I don't know about the government. I don't think. Maybe with the new wave of, I don't know, attention around music in Ghana, maybe somebody or the government would be interested in sponsoring something like this. But in the space where we are coming from, it's either you are funding this yourself or you are, like Selorm said, crowd funding, applying for grants, being creative about how to make money off some of um, the avenues of outside the government. I don't think in Ghana there's that much attention to documenting some of these things until individuals have put in the time and effort, and then they realize, oh, something is cooked somewhere, we
Okay.
can make money off it. So I feel like at this point I'm much more inspired to go through the documentation process of what's happening now. And I don't know, maybe 20 years down the line, one of us might become president and allocate government funds to Ghana Hip Life.
So, what do you think are some of the specificities of Ghanaian hip hop that will make it more marketable, so then we can kind of raise funds for such initiatives?
Sorry. The question again.
What are some of the specificities of Ghanaian hip hop that makes it very marketable, so we can raise funds to finance the initiatives we are talking about?
I think the hip life story. I think the
So
hip
tell
life
us
story.
about it.
So I think so. We, like I said, we were at the receiving end of the American hip hop. So we were in a space where we would wait for friends that had family in the US to record like music videos on VHS, and then to send it down, and then we'll make copies of it or we'll share. So that's how we were getting into the hip hop scene, and people would try to learn how to rap, like their favorite rappers, will rap over like famous hip hop song beats, Then Reggie came. I think
Reggie Rockstone.
Reggie Rockstone was based in I think between US and UK maybe. And then he came down, but he was in a group abroad. I think a group in the US, so he was rapping back then, but he came down, and then he decided to put out a project rapping in the local language, which was Tree. I mean, one of the local languages, which was Tree, and then he was able to fight his way to get it on radio. And then once it got on radio, it just took off. And then people. So initially, when it took off, what we would do was that we would take, or I think we'll. I don't. I need to research on that, whether they took the popular American hip hop songs or R&B songs, just the beats, and then they'll do their version of it in the local language. Yeah. So I think, like Ofoe said, Obrafo was one of the most original projects where from A to Z it was like a Ghanaian production, and
Okay.
yeah. So it took over the whole country. The youth was involved. I think the other generation too were enjoying it because it was a mesh between hip hop and then high life music, which was like the music of the older generation. So it was a mix of the two. So I think it sat well with the older generation, and then
Okay.
so it took over. Yeah, it was a crazy time. Like everywhere, hip life was
So it
everywhere.
was uniting
Yeah,
both the younger generation and the older generation.
yeah. But it wasn't, the older generation weren't that 100% with it. But I mean, you could go to events and the older generation will be dancing to hip life music as well.
Okay. Ofoe, do you think there are some other aspects of the culture that are also easy to brand or to share with the world? Maybe the fashion, maybe I don't know. I'm just I'm just wondering.
Hello, you can hear me, right? Your
Yeah.
line was breaking, but if you can hear me. Yeah, I think the story itself, like Selorm was saying, is maybe where we can start from. I think there are people who are better versed in like the hip hop story, like the hip life story. I think there were people who were before it probably blew up to the level we know. From from what I see now, there are probably people who were working underground that we need to like get those stories from. Um, it's been like a timeline for the past, I don't know, almost 30 years where it's gone through different stages. And if
Okay.
we can highlight those different stages up to where it is now and possibly where it could be, I think we'll have like a very, very rich story to present to the world because I, I believe from like hip life, there's been so many influences and so many branches so far that it's beyond being called just hip life. It's it's covering a lot of things like exactly like the fashion scene in
Yeah.
hip life, being around um heavy in the scene, let's say around 2017 to now, even the role of a place like Cantamanto
Yeah.
in styling some of these new generation hip hop artists that are coming out right now is like a cross. It's a big cross between so many different spaces. Even what some spaces have been for some of these new names that we are hearing now, where some of these guys are coming from very remote
Yeah.
areas, and when you get to their spaces, they are actually they have a fan base, and it probably doesn't exist in Accra, but before they get on a stage like let's say Yo-Yo Tinz, they're actually coming from a space where they actually have some numbers listening to them, and there's a genesis of all these stories that I feel like there is a possibility to collect them for like a very rich story of the genesis to where it is now. There are a lot of there are a lot of minds that have shaped Ghanaian hip life to where it is now, and mm, we need to like collect all of that,
Yeah.
or continuously and consciously keep collecting all of that. Yeah.
Just for our audience, let me mention Contamento is a huge second-hand market. And so from what I hear, it's a space where a lot of young people would go and get sneakers and anything that could complete their attire to make them look hip. So yeah, definitely that's an aspect that is really important also in the culture, I think. Did you want to add something, Selom?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, yes, very true. I think then it means that fashion is also an important thing that can be highlighted on, because Cantamato goes way back to the beginning of like the whole hip hop story. that is where we'll get our clothes. I mean, like, if you don't get your clothes from Kantamanto, where do you get your clothes from? You know, all the timberlands, the side packs, you know, the, how do you call it, fat farms, the hard knock life, you know, everything, anything you want is in Kantamanto.
The
You know,
wallabies, the
yeah,
wallabies.
the wallabies, you know, and we knew the
You
time.
can only get your wallabies from cars.
Yeah, we knew the day to go to Kantamanto. I think
Okay.
we go to Kantamanto like on a Wednesday, early in the morning before the sun comes, the light comes out. Then that's when they actually open the bill.
And where are they coming from, those bears?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like US, UK.
I believe so. Maybe US, UK, or China or something. You know. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
But that's original outfits that you
Yeah. Those are original outfits. You know, and then we go. So you actually make a selection. So. So then it boils down to taste. You know. So what you pick is you pick your taste. You know. So the fashion is not forced on you. You actually go and pick what you like based on what you want. So yeah, it was interesting times, you know. Yeah.
And nowadays, do young hip hop artists also go to Kantamanto, or they are trying to work more on their styles? Maybe there are some stylists around that help them.
The stylists will go to a Kantamanto.
But then there's also the new like people are also experimenting with like making merch, like original
that's true.
merch. Because it's like you see an album being launched in like the US, and then they have original t-shirts that go with the album. So you have somebody like Akan, whose album was Nyamemba being released, and then he makes like original t-shirts, very limited edition, and you own one and you're proud because it's limited edition. It's hip hop culture to have like very limited edition merchandise concerning a classic album. And you know, hip hop is also about flossing. Like, I have this t-shirt. You don't have it. It's associated to this album. It's just about 300 of us that have this t-shirt, and it's also a thing about hip hop. Like, I have the freshest t-shirt. I have the freshest sneakers. I have. So we are still staying fresh in the present world, but maybe, Kantamanto is still playing a role. But I appreciate artists who are also now going the extra mile to make limited edition merch for their fans who appreciate investing into the artists, and it's actually a good thing. Yeah.
I think sometimes Kantamanto still plays a role in that, because sometimes even for the plain t-shirts, you still have to go to Kantamanto for,
of course,
for the t-shirts to print on them, you know. So it's a
you can't do without it.
Yeah, it's a huge contribution space to the culture. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. I feel like now we have a nice overview of Ghanaian hip hop culture. So I want to recenter the conversation on your particular practice as photographers. So I want to know, have you been inspired by hip hop photographers, or did your work of archiving start organically and spontaneously? So we can think of the Chimodu or Jonathan Mannion. Is it people like you research their work, or is it people you discovered later? How did you start documenting the scene? Is it just something that came spontaneously?
Okay. For me, I think it was more of an organic approach. Just like we said earlier on, it's like, you know, we always that's also what started yoyo things, always wondering how we can document our scene, you know. So we just setting off to, you know, just initiate something, you know. Just that's I was just taking photos, not knowing the direction, you know, until I later found out about Chimodu. you know, and then he gave me clarity to, you know, what the documentation could become and how far it could go, you know. Yeah, so that's been it for me. And then I started discovering other photographers who have also done the same in the past. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Ofoe?
Yeah, I think it was also organic in the sense that it was also sometimes our own friends who were making this music too. So it's like sometimes a friend will call you, oh, I'm going to the studio, I'm working with this producer, we are recording something. They know you have a camera, so Charlie, just come along, take some pictures for me. And they hear the same song, and then the next minute you are taking pictures of the same person you were with in the studio on stage. So it was kind of organic. Um, we were always in the same spaces. You hear a song being played on radio, to mention the name, and you're like, oh, I know this guy. Like, when did he even start making music? And then later, I think it was also Chimodu for me. You see, like, you see the work all the time, but I don't think at that time I had the consciousness to look for the photographer behind the work, because I was seeing the pictures. I think their pictures was already doing the job without necessarily
Right.
being associated to a person. They were already putting out the exclusive images in the magazines, but then they became much more exclusive when, like, for example, someone like Chimudu when he passed away. But then when you get into the professional space, the space of it, the intellectual space of it, you have more clarity, like Selorm said, on okay, now I want to go into the studio and be more intentional about the portrait I'm going to take. So that's how it started. For example, I think the most extensive documentary I've done in the hip hop space has been with the Lamem Gang, when they used to come to my home studio. And sometimes you only know three of them, but in a day they are coming with like 15 other boys who are also rappers. You probably
Okay.
never see them again, but you are just taking portraits of all these boys because you get to hear the music as well. You appreciate it. So it's like, oh, I like the music, and the person is in front of me, and I want to associate a picture with that. So then your archive starts, your collect no, well, not the archive starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Then now you want to get more intentional, you want to
Yeah.
get more closer to the personalities. So then that's where somebody like a project I worked on with Joey B, where we were not doing just the promo pictures for his single, a single or something more, but more like I have an idea. Okay, I'm coming to the studio. We do some portraits just to show another side of the artist. I think that is where the inspiration from Chimodu has reached now with the work we're doing.
Right.
Okay. Nice. And the two of you, you are self-taught photographers.
Yeah. Street boys.
I think that's important to mention also, because looking at the way you've
Yeah.
evolved in your career, it's very interesting to see
Yeah.
that
Funny,
it came.
funny enough, we're in the same school at some point, but for a short period, right? Ofoe?
Yeah.
I was saying we're in the same
Sorry, I
school at
didn't hear
some
the
point.
question.
I said at some point we're in the same school also when we're young.
Yeah. Sorry, the question. The line was breaking.
No.
It was just a small anecdote. So don't worry. I want to share with you some questions from the audience. Oh, we've lost Ofoe. So I'll start with you, Selorm. Somebody is asking, what does hip hop mean to you?
Freedom to express. Yes.
Okay.
Freedom to express. Yeah, freedom to be yourself, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, just being yourself, expressing how you feel. And that's
Okay.
what hip hop means to me. Yeah.
Okay. Ofoe, somebody is asking, what does hip hop mean to you?
Hip hop. Hello,
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah, you're good.
Um. Okay, hip hop. I think hip hop means the rawest form of expression. Like
Mm-hmm.
people, I hear all the time. Like when I listen to rap music, I hear people pouring out their heart. I hear people pouring out stories deep down in their minds that they probably wouldn't have the chance to talk to the next person about, but through hip hop, they are able to reach out to people who feel the same. Like for me, I listen to hip hop with my heart. When I'm listening to it, I'm in there. What you're telling me, I'm actually listening to it.
Oh. So Ghana Internet wants to disgrace us today. Let me jump to the second question then. How do you see the hip hop culture in Ghana and the rest of Africa progressing in the next few years?
Wow. Wow. Um, I'm a strong believer of creating a whole platform for hip hop in Africa, like just focusing on the culture because like first for me to understand that hip hop is a culture, like it's a way of life, so we don't have to treat it as oh, this is the now hip hop is trending or not, rap is trending, or it's not something that trend. It's a way of life, so I feel like it's for us to create a whole space for or a platform, a unique platform for this culture, and then just focus our energy there, so then it operates outside everything that's happening. If there's a new sound that is out there, okay, it's out there, but hip hop is still there.
So,
Um,
do you mean like a Pan-African platform?
yeah, why not? Why not? Because the hip hop can be universal as well. Um, so why not? I feel like that way we'll be able to um have the kind of growth that it deserves.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise I feel like it will be for some rapper to have some sort of hit that gets the whole world and everybody's like, oh, okay, it's African hip hop, but it's way more than just that one rapper that has an international hit. There's a whole lot going on, so it's for us to have that platform where people can dig into and say, okay, this is what it's about. Yeah.
Okay. There's another question in two parts. What parts of the Ghanaian hip hop culture influence international hip hop culture, and what parts of the Ghanaian hip hop culture is influenced by international culture? Should we mention, maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it that recently Obrafo was sampled in Drake's album?
Yes.
Okay, maybe that could be an example.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo was sampled. But the thing is that sometimes we don't necessarily know about these things. Sometimes we find out that, oh, okay, this guy sampled this guy. So I don't know if a lot have been sampled from the Ghanaian hip hop scene. But I definitely know that a lot of High Life has been sampled. Like a lot of Ebo Taylor has been sampled. Is it K Frimpong has been sampled.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
quite often. Yeah.
quite often. You know, and we have also sampled K-Frimpong, you know, in different ways. But I think we always sample a lot from American hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
These days we are being influenced a lot by the UK drill hip hop. But it's, you see, it's also an issue of the presence of international media in our space. You know, so um, we have access to the big hip hop platforms in the States, in the UK. So um, we grew up on all these things. So we can't say these things that don't influence us. You know, they influence us every time. You know, how we produce and everything. So what we do is that when we are influenced by the sounds, we try to incorporate a Ghanaian aspect to the sounds. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. But yeah, okay. Thanks for your answer. We've lost Ofoe again. So I wanted to ask a very more specific question. Do you have a memory of a specific picture? So you documenting the hip hop scene that was either like one of your best memories or either something quite complicated to achieve?
I don't think I've had challenges trying to achieve anything I'm
Mm-hmm.
documenting. Because most of the time I'm in these spaces. Sometimes I'm fortunate to get certain access that you know, usually one will not get. What not it's not a difficulty, it's just that maybe sometimes maybe I decide to go out without my camera and I wish that I took my camera, or
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But and also, what was the other one?
Or like a very good memory. But maybe to help you, can I show you a picture and you tell me the story behind the picture?
Sure.
Okay, let's do that. Can you see it?
Not yet.
Okay. I hope the audience can see it. So basically, that's a picture of a rapper in action somewhere on the street.
Okay.
Yes. So you know the picture. That's a picture that has been taken in Nigeria, and
Okay.
that we've presented before. So
Yeah.
could you tell me more about it? How
Okay.
that happened?
So usually when I try usually when I travel, I try to connect with people in the hip hop space wherever I am, you know. I try to ask around what's happening, you know. So this happened to be in Lagos, and I spoke to a few people about what I'm doing in Ghana and my interest. You know, I like to see some of the things that happen in Lagos, and then somebody we met in Lagos said, "Oh, there's always this street was it a street cipher, something
Yeah.
like that
Mm-hmm.
happened at a Butemeta, and it was cancelled for some time because there was an incident where somebody was killed or somebody was stabbed or something like that. So it was, I think the day we went was the first day was coming back, you know. So we went there, and then was a few people around, and there were sound systems, you know, and people were just jumping on the mic here and there. So I just decided to document, and I caught this image. And as time went on, the crowd became thicker and thicker, and then also different characters started coming in, and what also looked like some gangsters started coming in, you know. So at some point, the guy who took us there said, "No, it's time to go," you know, because the energy is getting different, and you know, anything could happen.
Okay. Thank you. Ofoe, same question. I have here with me a black and white picture of Joy B. So that's one of the pictures we exhibited at the Yo-Yo Teens Festival 2018. And I would love for you to take us through the picture and tell us more about it. I don't know if you can see it, but I guess you remember the picture I'm talking about. Ofoe?
I think it's off.
Oh. And can somebody confirm if we see the image?
I don't see the image.
We don't see it. But what do you see?
Just the two of us.
Okay. 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 For me, what was interesting to discuss is that you both have a different approach, because Ofoe has done a lot of photography in the studio. So maybe photographies that are maybe a bit staged, while you seem to have been spent more time on the street and like documenting what's happening. And that's how, for me, it's really interesting to work with the two of you, because you complement each other. You form a very nice duo. So yeah, I would have loved to have heard Ofoe's thoughts on that, but I hope he will come back. In the meantime, let me try and show the picture again. Yeah, I think people can see it. Yeah. So that's Ofoe's picture, and he portrayed Joy B, who is a Ghanaian artist. Yeah. The difference being also that Ofoe has been able to have a home studio for some time, which maybe is not always the case for you, Selorm.
Sorry?
I'm saying the difference is also maybe just strictly in terms of having a home studio or not. Like Ofoe has been having one for some time, while not necessarily you.
Yes. Yes, but also I personally enjoy a lot of candid moments. Lots of candid moments. So having a studio hasn't really been a thing for me.
Okay.
Because I honestly enjoy just being out there, capturing moments, however they come to me.
Okay. Thank you. Let me stop sharing and let me show the other one. I don't know if people saw it earlier, so let me try. Okay, that's it. So that's the picture we were talking about earlier that has been taken in the street of Lagos in the neighborhood called Ebutemeta. Yeah. So we are getting to the end of our conversation. And to finish, I wanted to ask you, I hope we'll get Ofoe back. Could you recommend some Ghanaian hip hop artists? Who would be your top 3? Like, let's go with songs, because we know that the movement is big, but what is maybe easier to share and to find is music. So, yeah, your top 3 Ghanaian hip hop. Or maybe let's do it this way: a song from the 90s, a song from 2000s, and a song from 2010 till now.
A song from the 90s.
Yeah.
It will be Obrafo's Paimuka.
Okay.
And then what, 2000s?
Yeah.
2000s. There's a lot. 2000s.
Okay, let me ask Ofoe while you think about it.
Yeah.
I'm asking to finish the conversation. I'm asking for 3 recommendations of Ghanaian hip hop songs. One from the 90s, one from the 2000s, and then one more recent.
Wow, that's a hard one. Okay. From 2000s. Now I need to even check which year. But I would say Book Back.
Okay. Who's the rapper?
It's a duo.
Okay.
It's a duo. One rapper, one singer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who are they? Like, or was it the name of the band, or was it the name of the song?
The name of the band is Bookback.
Okay. Okay. And the song?
Which of the Bookback songs?
Hello.
Which of the Bookback songs? Kelewele, oh?
Oh, Book Back. Kelewele, Comic Ekena.
Yeah, Comic Ekena was there.
Plenty.
Yeah.
They're like one of the. I think Bright is one of my favorite lyricists from Book Back.
Yeah.
Like generally, he's so creative.
Yeah, Comic Ekena will be
with
the
his
song.
I think that was one of the biggest songs in the 2000s.
Yeah.
And then for me personally, because it wasn't your typical serious hip hop song like Obrafo and the rest are creating, but they were telling like everyday stories that we were all relating to at that time. Like Gonja Barracks and like somebody just said Book Back Kelewele.
Yeah. So I think for something like Comic Ekena.
Yeah, I think they were very playful with it.
Yeah, Comic Ekena, for instance, was about identity. And it was a song about the fact that we prefer Comic Ekena, which is kinky and fish.
Okay.
Than fried rice. So fried rice is supposed to be like a foreign food that's we've now too. So I prefer my komi and kena, which is kinky and fish.
Okay.
To fried rice. So that's what the whole song was about. It was about preferring what belonged to us instead of what was foreign. So I think it also has to do with
the meaning.
No, it has to do with that transition from like American hip hop style of things to like to being us, and also maybe dealing with, because there's a lot of influence from the States, so at some point it's like, can we push the brakes? Like, can ours is beautiful as well,
Okay. Can you help us with the spelling so people can find the song online?
Comic Ekena.
Komi.
Komi. I believe. And then Kekena, it's either Ke or K3.
The 3, yeah.
Yeah. And then Kena is like Kane. But I don't know if.
And the group again? The band again?
Bookback. BUK. BAK. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
So the 90s, right?
Yes.
I think the 90s, I would go with Native Funk Lords for their influence on Ghanaian pidgin.
Yeah.
And what it is now.
Yeah.
To release songs in pidgin at that time when it was just getting popular. These are a bunch of Usu boys coming together to form a group at a time when hip life was just a baby, coming from, if I'm not mistaken, after Reggie was like giving us back to back, Native Funk Lords were like the next group of people that were like on it, and they took it to a different level with the Pidgin language.
Okay.
And in my memory, their songs gave us so many Pidgin words and popularized what we know Pidgin as and how it developed in our secondary schools. I give them so much props for their projects that they put out at that
Maybe
time.
to precise, so Pidgin is like a creolization of English, where there's a lot of influence, like there's new words created that are influenced by the local languages in Ghana. And that's a language that's really developed through music. Yeah. Can you spell the name of the band for us?
Native Funk Lords.
Native.
Okay. How do you Funkulous?
No, Funk Lords. So Native and the Funk, F-U-N-K.
Okay.
And
Lords.
then Lords,
Yeah.
L-O-R-D.
Oh, okay. And the song?
President, vote for me. Make a chop president. I go make a vice president. Yeah, no, vote for me. Sorry, vote for me. The song's called "Vote for Me."
Okay.
And then Osu. There's a song called Osu.
Titi.
Osu. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. I love that you are ending the conversation on a light note, and also that we gave some homework to our audience. So I hope people will be able to research and have a nice Sunday chill listening to Ghanaian hip hop. Thank you so much for sharing with me about your practice, about your relationship with hip hop. And I hope we'll be able to physically meet very soon to work on this book project. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a lovely evening.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
And thank you to our audience who tuned in.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.